What is up, everybody? This is Erik, the one and only bear collector, and today I'm actually sitting in my room yet again, doing a couple more videos. But with that being said, before I start talking about the game that I'm going to be reviewing today, I wanted to let people know how I came across this particular game because I think it's pretty interesting how I obtained it. So, a couple of years back, not long ago, one night I was in my bedroom trying to fall asleep. It was in the middle of the night. I had woken up. I'm typically a person that doesn't sleep well at night. So this particular night was one of those nights that I wasn't able to sleep at all. And I was just lying in my bed looking at the ceiling and was like, couldn't go to sleep. So then I picked up my phone, started, kind of looking at games and things like that at the time on eBay, when I finally got the idea and asked myself this question: what would be the cheapest game I can buy, regardless of console, that I can buy that would be really cheap? I gave myself a rule: has to be free shipping, and on top of that, it can't be a sports game, and it cannot be one of those singing games, kind of like Guitar Hero or Dance Dance Revolution, those type of games, rhythm dancing games. So I started searching, and eventually I came across a PS2 game that I've never heard of before until I researched that. And that game was Rebel Raiders for the PlayStation 2, Operation Nighthawk. Now, this was made by XS Games and Kando, and the game came out back in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, which would have been kind of short to the PS2 ending life cycle of the game. And basically, I've never heard of this game prior. I've never ever heard of this game. So this is considered to be one of those budget bin title games. Came out in 2006. And basically what this game is, it's a space 3D action shooter. The best way I can describe this game is it's a game that's very similar to the game, oh my goodness, Afterburner. That's the closest that I can describe that game to be like Afterburner. And basically, because of the way that it's a shooter and whatnot. So, what the game is about, basically, the game takes place in the near future where the human race, they expanded and started populating other places in the solar system, and they started a new government control called the UWN, or the Union of World Nations, and they expanded. But during that time, after a while, it became corrupt. So, there was a rebel army that came from it, named the Alliance of Independent States, or AIS. So these guys are trying to withstand this corrupt republic. So the player takes control of this ghost squadron of alliance leaders that fights through to gain the freedom in through 16 stages. And basically each level, there's 4 levels with 4 sub stages each one. And that's pretty much what the game is. Also with the game, you also can control different type of aircraft. There's a bunch of them to unlock, and so yeah, it's a pretty intense dogfight style 3D action shooter. So I just recently beat it. It was one of those games that I was trying to beat for a really long time, but unfortunately, it's just such a difficult game. So finally, I was able to play it and beat it. And so, what did I think of this game? Well, in all honesty, graphically, the game is really good. The game is really good graphically. It's really nice for being a game that came out pretty late in the in the PS2's cycle. By that time, the PS3 was already coming out, I believe. So it was one of those games that it was, you know, close to the end of the PS2 cycle, and it's considered to be a budget game. But I also thought that it was pretty fun. I actually enjoyed it. I actually thought the game was fun. It wasn't bad despite being really difficult. At the end of the day, do I recommend it for being such a cheap game? Yes, I do recommend it if you like these type of 3D shooter action games. It gets really tedious in the levels, as you'll see in my gameplay. Even with cheats, because I played it with cheats, it still was a really hard game. The other thing that I can say about this game is that the voice acting is pretty good. There's no cutscenes. Like they put like not cinematic but more picture cutscenes. If they would have done more to this game, like cinematically, like they could have added cutscenes, it would have been, I believe that this game would have been more sought after. At this point, as of the making of this video, you can get a copy of this game for super cheap. And like I mentioned, that was my challenge for trying to buy one of the cheapest games out there that is not a sports game, or it's not a rhythm or singing game, or like SingStar or anything like that. So that game's pretty cheap nowadays still. A box copy can probably run you less than $10, not even less. A loose one, I've seen it go for about $2-3, but unfortunately it'll be mailed out, but without any oh my goodness, any tracking. Jeez, I'm having trouble. But at the end of the day, it's a good game. It came out, actually, I forgot to mention that it came out for Windows, and it came out for the PS2, and then much later they ported it to the Wii. I don't know why they would have done that to the Wii, and I haven't seen a copy of the Wii game. I think the Wii game's a little more expensive, but all in all, it's an afterthought of a game that I feel like it should be more revisited, and it's a pretty good game. I don't want to spoil the ending of the game, because at the end of the day, I feel like it deserved more than what it got. So anyways, that's my thought of this game. It's a really fun game, although it's very, very difficult, and I do recommend it. For the price that it is recommended. So anyways, hope you guys like the gameplay footage of the game. I try to beat a couple of levels because the game runs really the way. I'm not that good in the game, so it took a while. But at the end of the day, I was able to catch some good footage of it, so it gives you an idea of what the game's all about. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy the gameplay footage of the game. Please like and subscribe to Lily, a Simple Mom, to Logan from Logan's Toy Box Review, and Alexis, aka Lexi, from Lexi's Toy Box Review. Their links will be in the description down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys take care. Peace out.
Ghost Leader to Yellow Leader. Bandits inbound. Acknowledge, Ghost Leader. 3 bogeys on my scopes, heading 192. Let's take them out. Roger.
At a time when man had conquered space, the most devastating conflict in history was happening on our mother planet, the Earth. After decades of peace, the Occident had been overcome by the forces of a totalitarian state. All the major cities are under the martial law. The rest of the world is only desolation. Only a few number of courageous nations have gathered to fight against tyranny. No one knows how the rebellion started, but this handful of fighters was humanity's only hope. Every day, new freedom fighters were joining the ranks of the rebellion. But the UWN had decided to hit at the heart of the Allied forces and to put an end to the Civil War once and for all by launching a surprise raid on the Bounty base. All the rebel forces at the base were mobilized for battle. At the head of one of the rookie squadrons, fresh from the academy, I was preparing to head into a decisive battle.
This is Yellow Leader. Go and intercept them. I'll stay behind to protect the base.
Ghost Leader to Squadron. This time, guys, it's going to be the moment of truth. Remember what you learned at the Academy. Whatever's out there waiting for us, we won't give in easily. I'm watching out for you and I won't let you down. with them first. They have a weak point. The rudders. Shoot them when they're open.
Watch out, though. Avoid the turbo laser's blasts.
This is Ghost Leader. Be careful. The enemy destroyers have just activated their turbo lasers.
This is Yellow Leader! Hold on, guys! We're coming to give you a hand!
Ghost Leader to Yellow Leader. Nice of you to drop by. Ghost Leader to Bounty Base. Watch out. 2 enemy destroyers coming at you heading 225.
Copy that, Ghost Leader. Bounty Base to all units. General alert. All defense systems activated. Bounty base to Ghost Leader. One of the destroyers is charging an electromagnetic pulse. Do your best to prevent it from firing.
This is Ghost Leader. Okay, I'll take care of it. I need to hurry up. I only have a limited amount of time.
really showed him there. Come on, you miserable losers, come back! We haven't finished with you yet!
I wonder why they gave up so quickly.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Ghost Leader to Squadron, get back into formation. We're heading back to base. Ghost Leader to ground control. I have the coast on visual.
Copy that. Be careful, Ghost Leader. We don't know what you're heading into. Don't play the hero. Move stealthily, destroy as many turbo lasers as possible, and whatever you do, come back in one piece.
Roger, ground control. I'm gonna use all these canyons to infiltrate without detection. Control. I spotted an enemy destroyer. I wasn't expecting this.
I copy, Ghost Leader. Abort the mission.
Negative, Ground Control. I can deal with it. Apparently, this is not my day. Ghost Leader to ground control, mission accomplished. I've cleaned the sector.
Copy, Ghost Leader. Get back to base immediately.
Before I do, I have a little score to settle with these bombers.
Negative, Ghost Leader. Return to base immediately. That's an order.
I'm no longer receiving you, ground control. Sorry, I'm gonna have to cut off communication for a few minutes.